morning and welcome to Morning Movie News, where the first thing I want to do today is talk about one of you, and that's BTT viewer Jason Bishop. Now, I don't usually do shout outs on the show because in an effort to be fair, I don't want to ever leave anyone out, right? So often people are like, oh, could you please give me a birthday shout out? And I have to say no, but I'm always happy to give someone a shout out on Twitter. But the reason we're talking about Jason today is that Jason has a very special situation that I think requires all of our attention. So Jason is Mr. Omnisome here on YouTube. So Jason, I hope that you'll leave a comment down below today so everyone can see you and be able to talk to you about this. But Jason wrote me an email last night saying, Beyond the Trailer has really helped me over the years dealing with a chronic pain issue that I have. I can't sleep some nights. It helps me get through it. Watching your videos, talking about movies, and I'm sure movies in general have helped Jason quite a bit as well. But happily, his doctors have found the cause of his pain, or at least they think they have. So on Monday, May 2nd, Jason in New Zealand is having a procedure done. Now it's routine. It's not anything to be too alarmed about. But whenever you have surgery, it's always a little scary. And Jason wrote me to tell me that he's a little nervous about it. So I wanted to say to you, Jason, I think it's going to go great. I hope this solves your problems, and I just want you to know that we're all rooting for you. Jason very sadly said he's going to miss the early premiere of Captain America: Civil War in New Zealand. But Jason, I hope you have your tickets for after your surgery, and nobody ruin it for him. And I wish you the best of luck on Monday, Jason. Thank you so much for writing me. I'm humbled that I could have helped you through that period at all, and I hope that period is over. But I hope that you'll continue to watch Beyond the Trailer and talk movies with all of us. So I also urge you, all of you, once Mr. Omnisome writes a comment down below, that you give him your best wishes as well as he goes into his surgery on Monday. All right. I can't wait to hear how it goes, Jason. All right, so that's how I wanted to start today's episode. Let's get to the 3 stories. Very interesting stories today. The first one is that James Cameron seems to be back. He seems to be back, baby. That's how I think is the best way to say it. Not only is he making 4 more Avatar movies, although as I talked about on Movie Math on Monday, China is very excited about 4 new Avatar movies. So James Cameron might be crazy like a fox. But anyway, he's also, still mulling about that Battle Angel project, but he's no longer going to direct it. He will produce it, and Robert Rodriguez will direct, which to me is a little unnerving. I'm glad Robert Rodriguez is such an awesome guy, and he has so many friends in the directing community, like Quentin Tarantino, they're best buddies. Now he and James Cameron are getting along. Robert Rodriguez's early work is quite good, but I think we all can agree that he's become, a director that's so infatuated with being cost effective, let's say it politely, that I think his creativity suffers for it, right? He's like, as I said in my some of my recent reviews of his movies, Robert Rodriguez will be like, can you believe that shot only costs like $10? And I think these days we're like, yeah, Robert, I can believe it cost only $10 because it looks like it only costs $10. I don't think he's as clever at hiding his cost cutting as he thinks he is. I also think that he hypersexualizes his characters a lot, and I think that as we move forward as a society, I don't really know if that's still something that's very popular. I think there's certainly going to always be an audience for it, but is it an audience big enough to, make a movie like Battle Angels a success? You want women to go see this as well as men, so you really have to try and find something in the middle. But anyway, this movie is still moving forward, and they're looking to cast their lead actress. So these are the 3 actresses. Bella Thorne apparently also tested for this, but the front runners apparently are Zendaya. Zendaya really looking to move into movies here. Of course, she's in the upcoming Spider-Man: Homecoming. Maika Monroe from It Follows. She was also in the Zac Efron Dennis Quaid movie. I forget the name of it. It was a fantastic movie. I think it might have been The Price or something. It was very good. And also, of course, she's in the upcoming Independence Day Resurgence. But Maika Monroe would actually be my choice here. She's a fantastic actress. Very likable as well. But then also Rosa Salazar, who was in the Scorch Trials, as I believe Brenda has also tested. And, I think Robert Rodriguez would always lean towards casting a Latina actress, which is wonderful, but I think there would be a better one than Rosa Salazar. I didn't particularly think she stood out in Scorch Trials, and I feel I don't feel she's quite the level that it would take to balance out Robert Rodriguez's worst instincts. Let's just put it that way. So what is Battle Angel about? Well, I have the description here. It's a manga. We'll get to that in a moment. But it says it tells the story of a female cyborg, another one, Ghost in the Shell, of course, being talked about a lot lately with Scarlett Johansson. But this female cyborg is discovered in a scrapyard by a scientist with no memory of her previous life except her deadly martial arts training. The woman becomes a bounty hunter, tracking down criminals. The action-adventure story is meant to serve as a backdrop to themes of self-discovery and the search of love. Barf. I don't know. I mean, when you see a male bounty hunter, I don't remember the Terminator holding any, daisies and being like, why doesn't anybody love me? I mean, to some degree, he wanted to be loved, but I hope that it has that level of subtlety. But anyway, female storytelling aside, I think some people tweet me about this. They said, why isn't anyone complaining about whitewashing here? And, there's the discussion that, manga is drawn to look Caucasian. But I think you have to respect, the region of the world where it comes from, right? So I'm not sure how they should handle the lead actress, although nobody here is a star. You could find an Asian actress just as well that would have the same star power as these people. It's a little like what happened with Exodus, when Ridley Scott said, I can't get a movie made with a Middle Eastern actor, and he wasn't that polite. But people pointed out, Joel Edgerton sells tickets, Christian Bale. I mean, Christian Bale's never sold movie tickets unless he's Batman. And even then, I don't know if people were going to see Christian Bale in the role. But, so they could have gone with an Asian actress, but at the very least, you have to have some Asian members of your cast. So I think this is difficult going forward. I think you want to make movies that it's for everyone, but at the same time, I think you really should have respect for the people, the culture that created it. So we'll see what happens. I think there are so many other problems with Battle Angel right now that's why nobody's focusing on whitewashing, right? They're like, Robert Rodriguez, these actresses, that storyline. Ugh. I think Ghost in the Shell has people upset because it seems so good. We're giving a lot of benefit of the doubt to Rupert Sanders, who did such a bad job with Snow White and the Huntsman. So we'll see how it turns out. But I think people have fond memories of Lucy, as they should. Best first scene of a movie ever, or one of the best. Obviously it's not the best scene ever, but it's definitely one of them. So I think I think it'll be a test for Scarlett Johansson. The only thing that's going to stop this is if actors see a drawback to their own careers for doing this. I think Emma Stone got a little bit of a problem for what she did in Aloha. So we'll see if this haunts Scarlett Johansson. All right, so that's the first story of the day. The second story of the day is it looked like Dreamworks has finally found a buyer. And this is a buyer that Disney can't bully because it's Universal, which is huge. Well, actually, it's Universal's parent company, Comcast, which is looking to add Dreamworks to the fold. So they want to pay $3 billion for it. Now, that's not quite the $4 billion that Pixar and Star Wars were evaluated at, but it is more than Dreamworks is currently valued at, which is $2.3 billion. So good for DreamWorks. As we've been discussing, Jeffrey Katzenberg has been looking for someone to purchase Dreamworks for quite some time. He wanted, some people in China to buy it. He wanted Hasbro to buy it, and Disney said, if you buy Dreamworks, we're pulling all our toys from Hasbro, all our toy lines. And so Hasbro said, never mind, which I can understand. I think Hasbro can't afford to lose that source of revenue. But I think this is a good solution for all. I don't know if Hasbro really should get into the animation business in that way. They're having enough trouble with the live action business. But Universal not only, I think, is a highly functioning movie studio. Last year they were one of the, I think they still were the top. They did very well last year, obviously, as you might recall, with Jurassic World, Minions, and we'll talk about Illumination Entertainment in a moment. Minions, Furious 7, very successful studio. So they also are trying to rival Disney, and they're doing a pretty good job these days. They have their theme parks. They have NBC, just as Disney has their theme parks, and ABC. And Wizarding World of Harry Potter has been giving Disney a real run for its money down there, which is why Disney is expanding so aggressively with their Star Wars Land and Toy Story Land initiatives. But so for Universal to purchase Dreamworks, they not only get another animation studio in addition to Illumination Entertainment, and people are saying this would give them two, just like Disney has Pixar and Disney Animation. But I think Disney Animation and Pixar are very different. So but Illumination Entertainment is very European, so they have a very distinct styling as well. But it will give Universal even more content, but not only for movies, but for their NBC specials, and then also, of course, for their theme parks. I think you'll see Dreamworks enter the theme parks in a major way, which would also be very aggressive against Disney. But DreamWorks has to hold up their end of the deal by making good movies. And they've struggled a little bit as of late. I just hope that Universal gives them a better marketing department because they create some really great movies that just do not get the respect they deserve. Like Megamind. Megamind is a spectacular film, but nobody ever really talks about it or even remembers it, which is a shame. Maybe it was ahead of its time. Maybe it missed the superhero curve. It was just a little bit too early. But anyway, yes, Illumination Entertainment is owned by Universal, but I think they said there would be some jockeying for release dates there. But there's already jockeying for release dates between these animation studios already, despite their parent company. So what does it matter if the parent company, they'll give them more room to make sure they're spaced out, whatever. I don't think it's a problem at all. The really interesting story, though, here also is that Katzenberg is not guaranteed to make the transition over to Universal. Oh, and by the way, it's also been pointed out, I think quite cleverly, that Steven Spielberg just went back to Universal with his Amblin partners. So, Dreamworks Assembled. You might recall it was started by Steven Spielberg, Jeffrey Katzenberg, and David Geffen. David Geffen, not interested. He's buying buildings over at Lincoln Center. But Katzenberg might not go over with DreamWorks to Universal. I think he should. I think he's extremely passionate about animation. He is, go watch Waking Sleeping Beauty, the documentary. He did not get a lot of love from the folks at Disney when he worked there, but he is very responsible, along with Howard Ashman, for reviving their animation business. I would say even to the point equally so. But Katzenberg, very, very shrewd businessman. Actually, I would say he's probably very shrewd creatively, but I think business-wise, maybe he's not so great, which is why DreamWorks Animation has struggled. But let's not forget that for a while there, they were amazing. They were doing really, really well with hit after hit after hit. So, I think he just has to get back on track. So I would keep Katzenberg, who, by the way, there are reports about his salary, but it's important to point out that Katzenberg's salary is only $1. And all the millions that he makes, he made 13.5 last year, that's all a percentage of, it's a bonus money based on his performance as an executive. So he literally earns that money. It's not given. So I think that's very commendable. But I would keep him, and I would just say, let's bring in very strong people to work with Katzenberg, not for Katzenberg, but I wouldn't want to lose Katzenberg's input. And also, why do that to the man? I think he seems like a really nice person. He clearly loves that company, and he loves what he does. Why embarrass him like that? Keep him in the fold, and just don't let him be totally 100% in charge anymore. All right, so that's the second story of the day. Now, the third story of the day is that I have this big Harry Potter fan who I talk to on Twitter all the time. I think it's Pottermore or something. I don't have it in front of me. Very nice. And he or she tweeted me a story yesterday that they are publishing J.K. Rowling's Fantastic Beasts script. And they were very excited, and they were like, do they do this a lot? Is this unusual? And I thought that was really nice. And I think it's nice that J.K. Rowling is smart enough to realize that she has fans who like to read her work, and she should continue to supply them with stuff to read, as she does on her Pottermore website. That's where Pottermore is coming from. But Pottermore, that's where she recently published her Magic in North America chapters. And so, she's continuing to feed the beast, the beast that is the wizarding world of Harry Potter, which she'll probably do for the rest of her life. I hope she's training someone to take over for her eventually, because I don't think this is ever going to go away. And hopefully it shouldn't. Hopefully it's very good as it expands beyond Harry Potter. So anyway, this is going to be published November 19th, the day after the film's release. It'll be available digitally on Pottermore, so everyone across the globe can get it. But if you'd like to physically hold a copy in your hands, Little Brown in the UK and Scholastic in the US will be publishing it as well. Now, I think this is great, and it's going to be J.K. Rowling's second published, screenplay, so to speak, because The Harry Potter and the Cursed Child will be published on July 31st, the special rehearsal edition. And that is the play, of course, that's going to be coming in 2 parts to London's West End. And of course, again, that's an even more crucial script, I think, to publish, because not everyone can travel to London to see that, although I'm sure that play will eventually go on the road. Or will it if they're publishing it as something you can read, so everyone will know the story already. Also, the story will be on Wikipedia almost immediately anyway. But I think so that's important to publish. But publishing the script for Fantastic Beasts is interesting for 2 reasons. One, I'm very curious to see how J.K. Rowling does as a screenwriter. And I'm curious to see her stage direction in both writings, because it's very hard to transition, first of all, from one medium of writing to another. It's easier said than done. So let's see if she can be a playwright and or screenwriter. But also, from what my experience with J.K. Rowling's writings, I'm not a fan of her writing style. I think it's too detail-oriented. But some people just love it. Actually, more than some, obviously. But you don't want to be too flourishy in your stage direction descriptions when you're writing for the screen or the stage. So I'm curious to see if she can rein that in, or if she has like just reams of description of the scene and what the actors are doing. Their scripts are supposed to focus largely on the dialogue, and then you let the director and the production designer take care of everything else. So I thought that would be very funny. So I'm curious, are you going to pick up this screenplay? Oh yeah, and also the other thing I wanted to say, I loved this person's enthusiasm for this, and I think it's really great that they're making sure that screenplays get a lot of attention. It used to be that screenplays for like a while were really popular, right? And still to this day, you can see some people talking like on the street, someone selling screenplays. But it used to be very easy to pick up screenplays. Maybe to some degree it still is. But it's hard. You have to go search them out. But I think it's important to read screenplays, and I wish that more people did, because I think it underscores the importance of the screenplay and that it is an art form in and of itself. So I wish that more people read screenplays. I wish they were published more, but I think part of the problem is that there are not a lot of great screenplays being written these days, which is unfortunate. But for instance, maybe like The Big Short would be a screenplay people might be interested in. That's a very well-written movie. But I would like to see more people read screenplays, and if you have not read screenplays, you really should pick up a few. Just pick up the classics, pick up like The Godfather, all that stuff, just to get a feel for them. It's very important to read screenplays. It'll make you not only a better movie goer, but if you're interested in getting into the business of film at all, it'll really help you to understand, where film starts, literally. All right, so those are the 3 stories of the day. Now on to the viewer question. This is from Malinga Robin, and Malinga says, "Hey Grace, question. I love this question. This is such an insider movie Hollywood question. I love that Malinga asked this. And I was thinking about it. So Malinga says, how does movie distribution work? I'd like to know how Hollywood studios get their movies all over the world. I come from Uganda, East Africa. How awesome is that? And was wondering what it'd take for a movie from our end of the world, hello Uganda, to go all across the world. I'm very interested in doing so in the near future. Thanks a lot in advance. Smiley face. My brother and I watch every day." Oh, that's awesome. Hello, Malinga and your brother. I think this is just an absolutely fabulous question. So let me answer this for you in both directions. All right. So how does a U.S. Hollywood film get across the world? Well, it has to partner up with other distributors. Now, sometimes a studio will have distribution arms in other parts of the world, but it's just not cost effective to have a distributor in every single country everywhere. So what they do is they have deals with foreign distributors. And sometimes even that's how they'll fund a movie, because that distributor will pay in advance for the rights to distribute, and they put all that money together. There's part of your budget. So that offsets a lot of the time the expense of a movie. So they have a deal with someone in Uganda to distribute the movie. So what I would say to you, Malinga, is when a movie opens in your country, see who the distributor is. It should be one of the first logos to come up when the movie plays. And then you'll get an idea of who's distributing Hollywood movies in Uganda. There might be one distributor there might be a couple, but that's how Hollywood does it. And these deals are usually already in place. It's just like an assembly line. Like Universal makes a movie, it goes to these specific distributors. So that's how it usually works. Now, if a movie from another country wants to go to the United States, that's a little bit more of a difficult process, especially from a country like Uganda, which does not have a huge film industry. What I mean by that is, it's not China, Russia, Mexico, and of course the UK. UK is very strong. I think there's also, English language. But even UK is really the only one that's like set. All the other countries have a little bit of a hurdle. So basically, you have to go and you have to get a U.S. distributor to distribute your movie. That's changing a little bit because Luc Besson is distributing his movies personally via EuropaCorp. So that's a situation where someone from another country is setting up a U.S. distribution arm. EuropaCorp is his distributor in Europe. So he's cutting out Hollywood and just going directly to American audiences, which is pretty exciting. We might see more of that in the future, I would imagine. But for instance, though, also someone sent me an article yesterday on Twitter, which was fantastic, about how this Chinese, big investment company, well, it's a film company, but they have a lot of money. They are very heavily partnered with Styx Entertainment. So when you see a Styx Entertainment movie and you see like I think it's the Young Brothers or something like that, when you see that, that means they've helped pay for that, but they're really trying to get into Hollywood in a big way by funding movies largely through Styx in the $60 million range, and now they're trying to move to blockbusters. So that's one way you're getting foreign talent into the business. They're partnering with U.S. distributors. But back to your question, let's say you make a movie, Malinga, in Uganda, and you were like, okay, I want to get this into the United States. What can you do? Well, the best thing to do is to go on the festival circuit, to play on that festival. Well, also your film could be a big hit in Uganda. That would also help you. Let's say, so you get a lot of people to watch your movie in Uganda, and you're able to go to the festivals and say, hey, this is the biggest movie in Uganda, or this is a huge hit in Uganda. And then make the festival go, okay, I can sell that in my festival then. I can say, hey, do you want to see a huge hit in Uganda? Let's take a look. And then once your movie's at the festival, distributors who are looking for products, films to distribute, they'll see what kind of reviews you're getting, what kind of press you're getting, and if they feel that they can sell your movie, it's all about selling your movie. Can your movie be sold? Maybe they feel they can sell movie tickets, maybe they feel it's an awards contender. If they feel it's one or both, they will approach you with a distribution deal where they will pay you a certain amount of money for you to give them their film to distribute. And it's usually an upfront sum. You do not see any back-end participation on how the film does in theaters. Although you're not talking about huge grosses with small foreign films, so you wouldn't care anyway. So that's the way you would get your film to the U.S. market. Now, if you want to just make movies in Hollywood, from Uganda, my suggestion, and I get this a lot from people in other countries, so I just want to touch on it here briefly, is what you should do is you should try and work in your own film industry in your own country a little bit to get some experience. If you're still in school, you should be studying it. See if you can do an abroad program in some place that has another film program. Get internships, get some experience, get work, and then you might want to consider spending a summer in Los Angeles and seeing if you can intern there. If you can't go to Los Angeles, you could also try the UK. You could also try New Zealand, where they shoot a lot of movies. Wherever they make, and Australia also, as well. Wherever they make a lot of movies, wherever they film a lot, that's where you want to go. And you want to get on a set, or you want to get into a production office, or you want to get into a distribution office, and you just want to start working in the biz. It's going to be very hard from a foreign country. Unless you're willing to do a marathon and not a sprint, and with not the promise that it will pay off, I think you should keep an open mind about what career path you want. Just be like, I want to work in the movie business. Let's see what I can get. So I think that, I wouldn't be too loose, on the flip side, but I think if you're like, I want to be this exact job, I think it's going to be harder than I'd like to work in this general area. So that's my advice to you, Malinga, you and your brother. Also, that's I hope that clarifies the situation for you. Thank you so much for your awesome business question. It made me so happy. All right, thank you everybody for tuning in today. Please write down below, I think, today's top 3 stories and that viewer question. Don't forget to say something to Jason down below, and you can also let me know what you'd like to see covered tomorrow and any questions that you might have. Thanks for watching. Bye. Thanks for